to us.
Klingons. Oh, my BK Star Trek glasses? Why don't you just take my girlfriend while you're at it?
Awesome.
Nice work, Tiberius.
Star Trek movie glasses, $1.99 each with any BK value meal. Collect them all before the Klingons do.
Yeah. Don't let you miss.
That's great. That's great.
Don't let your missus get grabbed by the Klingons, particularly not on Valentine's night. Hailing you, hailing us. It's the USS Warp Drive. We're back again, raw again, and reasonably fully functional to beam in once more and crash out here in our drinking den. This is 10 backward aboard the USS Athena. So it's tucked away somewhere where that Captain Mumbles can't find us. And so we can get away with saying pretty much whatever we want and then just blame it on the hard stuff they're serving here directly to your table, as always, along with all manner of Trek talk, banter, and other bollocks right up your alpha quadrant. Okay. So, yeah, look, after last week, it's a miracle that we're all back. I've restocked since because, you know, we were all hitting the bottle pretty hard after over an hour talking about episode 5. We've restocked on the liquor. No, not that kind of liquor.
Oh, God, no. Could you imagine that situation?
I'm never going to unsee that.
What would you do in that situation at that moment in time?
Well, who are you, Picard or the hologram?
Picard.
You know what you do? You set phasers to kill.
In for a penny, in for a pound. I'd work on those zippers. Let's see what she's got. Look. Oh, this is it. This is exactly what Gene Roddenberry would have wanted when he created Star Trek as it first aired 60 years ago this year, believe it or not. And that's why we've gathered together once more here at Warp Drive for 2026 to not just celebrate that and him, but all the treats that Paramount have got lined up for us officially for Star Trek in its anniversary year to join that long distinguished line of series and ships from the past and service, it's the USS Athena and Starfleet Academy. I mean, the good news is, you may shudder, but we are past the halfway mark now, Rabbi, in this series.
I've gone way past the halfway mark many weeks ago. It's awful. Listen, why can't there be at least one super hot woman in it, right? I mean, like, that would make it better. And I'm not talking about the Klingon. I mean, look, the Beta Z chick, she's pretty, but, like, she's no Deanna Troi. What can I tell you? I like the cleavage costumes that Deanna Troi wore. You can put your pencil there, to when you didn't know what, because you didn't have pockets in your uniform. I just none of this. Oh God, it's all so awful.
Yeah, I like the Beta Z girl as well, but she's got no top bollocks.
That is very true.
I quite like Genesis as well. I think she's cute. But all she really does is sort of pout and moan at people. So it is distinctively low on sauce, proper sauce. You're quite right. I mean, I dare say for people out there who are so inclined, they may like the Klingon when he tugs on his dress, whatever it was that he was doing last week. But I don't know.
No, there's nobody who likes the Klingon. There is nobody. Anybody who likes Klingons won't like that. There's nobody who likes the Klingon. Even the Klingon is embarrassed. Right?
You see, I can't get through an episode. I've forgotten all their names apart from Caleb and Sam and Genesis. So that's half of them. Because
I've defaulted David to Chris's terms for them all.
That's exactly my point. The Beta Z girl, I just called Cutie Pie Dylan. Or Cutie Pants Dylan, because
Cootie Pants Dylan. Well, actually, David, we've changed it after
sorry.
this week. She is now Crazy Cootie Pants Dylan.
Oh, Crazy Cootie Pants Dylan. Okay, but I was thinking, I refer to her as Dylan now, Cootie Pants Dylan, and I'm thinking, actually, that's not a name. It's Cootie Pants Dylan. What are they talking about? So
the best name for Sam I heard this week on, I don't know if it was like some other podcast or whatever, somebody in reviewing last week's episode, somebody referred to Sam as Baby Lizzo, which I think is the best term.
Yes, yes, that was it, Baby Lizzo.
Yeah.
Although I have to tell you, in terms of things on right now, Night of the Seven Kingdoms just went over the edge last episode and was fantastic. It's really, really, really good.
So there is decent entertainment out there somewhere there, if you know where to look, Rabbi.
Yeah, just, if it's got the word Star Trek on it, probably not.
Yeah.
We're going to take lots of your opinions later on, of course, about this episode, about where you're at now, what's going on. And as ever, I've been scrolling the various view screens to pick up on how things are going generally in the Star Trek fandom and whether this series has made it through the mire of popular culture. What's everybody else saying about Starfleet Academy? So stay tuned and you'll get all of that as well as everything else. The USS Athena, I'm still not sold on this ship at all. The tech, the look, the bridge crew, who are they again? I don't know. We're over halfway through at least. There's more news on the future of the show itself around as well. That's all in the ether. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's get started.
Hey, do you guys have any Star Trek 5 tapes left?
Where is the Star Trek 5 video?
You got Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier?
Please. Any Star Trek 5s?
Ooh, thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Fabulous.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness.
Would you happen to have Star Trek 5?
Yes, sir.
Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier? Isn't. So tell your dealer you want to see it.
Man, all those people were about to be so disappointed.
Sorry, Chris, one of my favorite Star Trek movies. I will not hear a word against it.
Okay, so I have a proposal to make. David is now banned.
I love that film. I love it. It's a beautiful
David's clearly a big fan of fan dances.
Next, he's going to say that
it's a beautiful
Starfleet Academy.
I had my kids with me this Shabbat, right? And beforehand, we had like baby music playing, and row, row your boat came on, and I was feeding a baby, and I said, Mr. Spock could not understand this song. Right? I mean, we had
absolutely. It's completely illogical.
Get the beauty of it.
Not a dream, Captain.
So much Star Trek and so little time, everybody. We're talking about the 6th episode in the first season of Starfleet Academy. There's going to be 10 all in all.
God.
I don't wish to depress you any further. But yes, we've got a few more to go. But this one's slightly different. So we moved from the classroom to the bedroom, for Valentine's Day. Didn't see that coming. Hot and heavy with Star Trek. And whether it's, this is a series, obviously, it's a series within a franchise that should sort of hit its own beats and maybe should do things that other Star Treks haven't done before. But there's always a limit, isn't there? It's been streamed across Paramount Plus the whole world over, the same as they all have. And this one's called Come Let's Away. It's written by Kenneth Lynn and Kylie Rossiter, directed again by Larry Teng. Larry, he directed the last week's episode as well. Yeah, that's right. And he's also worked on shows like Medium, Supergirl, SWAT, The Walking Dead and Doom Patrol, and Person of Interest and Jessica Jones. So there's a real mix of stuff that this guy's come off to work on this show. And I do feel that you could tell somebody is there trying to make this kind of cinematic, whether Star Trek need be cinematic on the television or not. That's probably open for debate.
They have no understanding of Star Trek. They have no knowledge or understanding of Star Trek. And that's why you can make it as cinematic as you like. It's not going to be Star Trek. Right? And
that's true.
And that's the everything about this is not Star Trek. The most Star Trek-y thing in it is the villain, not the villain, the evil war academy captain. Right? He's the most normal Star Trek person. You will find him on a bridge anywhere else, and he's portrayed as like the evil villain.
He's portrayed as beyond the pale for being accomplished, for being professional, for actually caring about the job and the students that are in his charge. The synopsis for this one says, during the cadets' first training mission on an abandoned spaceship, they encounter a dangerous new enemy. As our cadets fight for survival, Nala must risk everything to save them by seeking help from an unexpected untrustworthy source. So this one, takes the
and
Starfleet Academy
Mary Sue character. With every Mary Sue character, when they have a plot about what their command, whatever it is, right, they fail completely. This is exactly like Laura Dern in awful Star Wars movie. Like, just absolutely and completely has her ass handed to her because she's useless.
You expect with a show that's like this, which is about younger people or people that are working their way up and gaining a set of skills to literally graduate here from an academy, you don't expect them to be necessarily competent from the get-go. I think that's part of the selling point, I suppose, of any series that's set in any kind of school, academy, college sort of environment, like a rites of passage thing. But this does come across like we're watching you wonder how the majority of them managed to get into the academy in the first place. And then you've got the degenerate, like the lead character, Caleb, who is brilliant at absolutely everything. So it's either one extreme or the other. And you do wonder who on earth crafted this set of characters, because the balance simply isn't there. My initial thought about this from week one was that what we're watching is the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters in space, basically. And I don't think I've ever seen that more obviously proven true than in this week's episode, really. I mean, Gary, you had a really hard time with Starfleet Academy last week in particular. I've never seen you so apoplectic. but so I'll start with you. I mean, are you a happier camper this week?
Okay. I believe that personally, I believe that for my criticism to be valid, I have to give credit where it's due, with the exception of a couple of glaring, monumental logic flaws and a couple of eye-rolling moments. I actually overall thought this episode was pretty good. Maybe I'm just recovering from the bad taste of the last 5, but I thought finally it took 6 episodes, but finally there are stakes for this show. In the 6th episode, finally dealing with something important. I'm not gonna go into the certain points because I'm sure they'll come up and we'll speak to them at the time. But
Gary, can I explain what you thought?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
It's called Stockholm syndrome, right?
Okay, yes. Anything, maybe, Rabbi, you're right. Maybe after last week, anything would be better.
You're right.
But I just thought that, still, we have the Sam character, who I think is still the worst character. I actually think that Paul Giamatti absolutely was the MVP of this episode. I think he wiped the floor with Holly Hunter. And I don't want to go into specifics right now, but I don't know. I mean, the only thing I'll say now is that if the comm badge girl shows up again and has not been ejected from the academy after this episode, I can't take this show seriously. She starts melting down.
You can't take this show seriously, really?
She starts melting.
Jesse, what are you going to do? That must be something different to life.
She starts melting down in about 2 seconds. Here's what I think they should do. There should have been a scene at the end where she goes into Holly Hunter's office or whatever, and Holly Hunter says, "You know what? There's there's an opening in the gardening department of Starfleet Academy. It's important to keep the grounds up in the fine tradition of Boothby. We think that your temperament, think your temperament would be better suited for gardening."
It will be called the Boothby. What's the thing when you give money for a
memorial?
What?
Memorial?
No. When you give money for somebody to get some educational thing,
oh, you mean a bursary?
No, but it works as well. Okay, whatever. It could be the
scholarship.
Mary Boothby
scholarship.
that she could be trained to, but she'll screw that up as well.
Yeah,
it will look like Hiroshima in 2 days. Like, really, don't trust this woman with anything.
She'd be scared of the garden strimmer.
When we were together last week, we were at the depths of despair. It has to be said. Some of us more than others, Gary. One of the panel, I don't know who it was, dropped it out to me that the first 6 episodes had been offered to critics and reviewers early in some sort of bundle.
That's right.
And I was warned that this week, was the sex episode. So I got my hopes up. I was thinking, whoa, hang on, it's coming. This is where things are going to perk up a little bit. As it happens, and I did brace myself for something that would be wildly inappropriate. I don't ever remember seeing an episode of Star Trek, any Star Trek, that's started with a love scene before. And I would describe this as a love scene rather than a sex scene. In all truth, between two pretty people. I thought it was, generally speaking, quite tasteful and quite nicely acted and quite loving and strangely heteronormative for a 21st century show. But
I could have done without that song, though.
But it went pretty pear-shaped pretty quickly for the lad, didn't it? I mean, this isn't a shag he's going to forget anytime soon. So, did anyone? I mean, Chris, did you feel that this was completely inappropriate, or what are your thoughts on this as a hardcore Star Trek fan?
Hi, everyone. How are we doing today? Yes, this was great family entertainment. Nothing like want to take the family into the living room and watch an episode of Star Trek and begin with some of the worst music I've ever heard, which is, well, basically any music of the Zoomer generation. Dear God, what's wrong with you people? And then we get to watch the degenerate bang cootie pants Dylan. That was no, there was nothing sexy about this. This was just dear God. But then I did find it quite amusing when everything degenerates. And well, we already know that Cootie Pants Dylan is also batshit. So we get another example of that. She basically mind intrudes the degenerate without consent. So that's not very nice. And then the degenerate understandably doesn't like that. And then they have a falling out. And then now crazy Cootie Pants Dylan spends the rest of the episode looking like she's about to explode. So let this be a warning to all young people. Never, ever, ever stick Winky in crazy.
I have to disagree. No. Crazy chicks. While being high maintenance, right? After that, while being high maintenance, are well worth it because you never know what you're going to find. Don't stay for long. Okay? But it's like a zoo. You poke your head in and you go, wow.
Then it follows you, and then you're screwed, and then you wind up on a true crime podcast. That's not our friend Rabbi.
Yeah,
weren't they implying though that she did that accidentally? Because when her thing goes out of control, she has no control, right?
Well, yeah, she should not be doing the nasty because she's crazy. So yeah, she why is the okay? So Cootie Pants being in Starfleet, this may just be me, but she does seem to be a health and safety lawsuit waiting to happen. You basically have like this nuclear powered batshit crazy person, who look what she did to the enemies at the end of this. This is not going to end well. This is going to end very badly. Everybody's going to die.
Is that why she has joined because I'm still not clear on whether the War College is part of Starfleet or just part of the Federation. Do they share values? I find it, it's not that I find it confusing, but I find it conflicting. And this was supposed to be her choice. Why has she chosen the War College? Because of some of the reasons that you've just pointed out, Chris, because she's a bit fucking nuts, really.
Well, yes. And the final scene of this episode, because I will be running away early again, so I'll probably be gone before we finish. But yes, that final scene of the episode, perpetrated by Cootie Pants Dylan, is something out of a horror movie. This is not somebody you want on your ship. This is not safe at all. Everybody's going to die. But we do it anyway. Like whatever happened to vetting? I'm like, you want to apply to the police force, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're nuts! No, you're not going to be a police person because this is going to end badly." But not in Star Trek. Oh, you're nuts!
Chris,
you're honestly okay.
Chris, you're honestly expecting vetting at the Academy after the com badge girl?
That is a point. Well, there's a certain type of vetting. You won't find many white dudes, and also just so I'm able to get this out of the way. Our thoughts and prayers to I named him Chad, but the older dude that was helping him on the ship, and the cool Vulcan who was the only character I liked.
Yeah.
Of course he's dead. So so if you're like a good and Mr. Shooty Pants is gonna die soon too. But no, Shooty Pants is gonna bang Mumbles. They've been setting that up for a while. That's going to be the scene that we're going to end the series with. Who's looking forward to that?
I want to vomit.
Did any of you think that the Vulcan character was better now that they got rid of that Romulan?
Yes. 100%.
The leprechaun. Yeah.
Wait. Can I ask a question? Because I wasn't entirely clear. Did the episode end on a cliffhanger about this character?
She's in critical condition.
Yeah, she's so crazy. She's in a coma.
Alive, right by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I thought that was unclear as well, exactly how ill she was.
The panel behind her on the bed was red. It said critical condition.
Well, that's it. Critical condition.
Yeah.
Don't never know what that means for them.
Well, it's sort of like a weird thing, this episode.
I hate that fucking Ferengi. I'm sorry. I hate that fucking Ferengi. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Also, Rabbi, did you notice?
That's not fucking Ferengi. Go and look at Alba fucking Shimra. Those Ferengi were fantastic. You are an insult to Ferengi. Oh my God, what is wrong with you?
Rabbi, I'm going to make it worse for you. I think it's in episode 2 or 3 that Ferengi is wearing a dress.
Oh,
what were you going to say there, David?
Well, I didn't quite expect that response. But, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like Voyager. I like Star Trek 5, and there's a Rabbi having a go. But no, seriously though, joking apart, they're obviously trying to insinuate or sort of have the Romeo and Juliet sort of relationship going on at the start of the episode. And between crazy cutie pants Dylan, apologies, Chris, and obviously the degenerate, and they're using the title "Come Let's Away," and a number of people on social media have been saying, "Oh yes, well that's Shakespearean from Romeo and Juliet." Actually, it's not. It's from King Lear. So, "Come Let's Away to prison," I believe is the line from King Lear. So. If you're going to start quoting stuff from Shakespeare and you wanted to make it all about Romeo and Juliet, at least get the play right, please. Okay,
no, you're crediting them far too much intelligence. Can I ask a question? I just think I'll make them notice. Is there a fat chick in a wheelchair at the end of that picture?
Yeah. There is. Okay, now I was going to come on to that.
Motherfucker!
Okay.
Fuck off!
So even though in Next Gen they could regenerate spines like they did for Worf.
Yes, correct. Dr. Crusher did that for War. However, this is inclusive, and it might be a symptom of the burn, of course, that we're unaware of.
I feel like I've been burned. I got a symptom of it right now.
The love scene for me sort of took me out of the episode, and I will call it a love scene rather than a sex scene, because I thought that probably would have been better placed during the middle when everybody's trying to work out how she's got so much of a link to the degenerate, to Caleb, because I think that starting with it really sort of allowed a bit of
Wait, David, how would that work exactly when Caleb's on the away team? How are they going to stop and have a love scene in the middle of the episode?
So what I'm saying is that it could be a flashback as to her explaining how she's got such a link with Caleb. I'm just sort of like throwing stuff around because
it's a beta set thing. When he puts it in my ass, I can suddenly get into his mind.
Well, also going with the whole wheelchair thing, Rabbi. That's not the only thing.
I'm trying to forget it now.
There's the other hole in that. Because we know that crazy cootie pants Dylan blew out her father's eardrums because she's nuts. Couldn't they have gotten him new ears?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's the start of the episode, which I'm thinking is a little bit out of place, because then suddenly you get this sort of really sort of okay, right, this is how it's starting. Then it's action all the way to the end. So what I'm talking about is you can start with action, and then so there could be just like a throwaway line from another cadet saying, well, how come you're able to reach Caleb then? And they could have a flashback to the love scene and blah, 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 and that's inserted. Sorry, I don't mean it to be like that, but that's inserted there. So do you see what I'm talking about? I have issues. Yes. I had issues with the structure of as well as a few things that I've spoken to Gary about, and Gary agrees with me on.
Wait, what did I agree with you on?
Well, all of these stories we've had so far,
all
the episodes we've had so far have been pushing an hour long and very linear. There's nothing creative about them at all. There's not much shape to the actual stories. It's just I wouldn't say they've all been plodding, but I think they've all had a kind of workmanlike feel to them. It's like, we'll just produce as much. We'll make as much of this as we possibly can with this script, and we'll offer it up to the platform, and bingo, job done. I feel that there's nowhere near as much sort of care for the craft being involved from anybody at the fundamental level, conceptually, and in particular writing. I think it's weirdly. Well, I think it's overwritten in the sense of the dialogue, Rabbi, because they give all of the characters not only ridiculous things to say, but far too much of it. But the plots and the mechanics of each plot are kind of undercooked. So I think that what David's picking up on there is a kind of that lack of shape, the lack of creativity. But there's also this kind of, I don't like to fall back on cliches, but they're pumping out content rather than crafting teleplays in the way that, not just Roddenberry and the people he worked with did, but people who worked on TNG right the way through to Enterprise.
These are nincompoops who happen to have the right politics and say the right thing. The people making these are incompetents. David's exactly right. The whole shape of the episode was wrong. That should have been him. That should have been him. That should have been a slow down, get your breath, right before he goes in. This was awful as well. The Vulcan reading this, fuck you. Anyway,
there are lots of things. There are lots of things, Rabbi, that if you take them out in isolation, that I did like or should like about this. I thought it was very pacey and tense in places. I thought it looked great. It looked cinematic again in places.
Caleb's good. That actor's really good.
The guy, I've said this from the start, he's been consistently good, and so has the girl who plays Genesis. He's a really strong lead for a show like this. The only difficulty I've got is that he's clearly pushing 30 when he should be about 20 if he's at bloody school. But you've got that. I thought the villains were, a little bit pantomime, but quite effective, and it was all quite well shot. And I love the sort of framing idea of this training ship that they go to, because it's of no practical purpose, so we use it to train the kids. Nice idea.
No, there's big plot holes there. There's a big plot hole there.
Well, yeah, maybe. But what I'm saying, it had a kind of haunted house novelty hook that it was being hung on, which is perfectly valid for a show like this, as long as there's some sort of actual story and character development going on in the background. And the bringing in the B plot with Nala and Paul Giamatti's character, I can't be bothered remembering the name of that character. Again, he was fantastic. She was terrible. And so all of this stuff was good. Even the way that they developed the relationships between the Starfleet Academy kids and the War College kids, that was good. That was kind of working. I was starting to get interested in those people. But every time I found myself inside the drama, I was pulled out of it again when they cut away to a longer scene of dialogue, sometimes between Nala and Paul Giamatti. Two perfectly competent actors, but because of the way it was written, it was really overwritten. They were saying so much and pacing around one another, and yet not really saying anything at all. I just felt they were getting these two actors to earn their paycheck, and there was masses and masses of this stuff. So in the end, I found that I veered between finding it incredibly tense and really wanting to know what was going on, and also I had this creeping sense of, are they all going to survive? Is someone going to die? Genuinely, because I didn't know. But every time we flipped back to these two, all of that tension just drained away. And I in the end, I just found it incredibly boring. And by the 40, 45-minute mark, I kind of involuntarily found myself detaching from the entire drama. And I sort of hung on there till the end. Like, oh, okay. I sort of jolted back.
Exactly right.
I jolted back to life a little when the Vulcan was killed, because I didn't see that coming. Oh, that's interesting. Any of them could die, but after that, it never won me back around. And so I don't want to slag this off, because it probably is the best episode of the 6, but it's still nowhere near good enough.
Yeah,
I thought, Dan, coming back off, if I just may, with the scenes between Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter, I thought you're absolutely right on that. But I thought there was too much exposition going on.
Too much.
It was like an exposition dump, and it was like we must get them to say this, we must get them to say this, we must get them to say that.
David, do you think that they did that with these two actors because they're the on paper they're the veteran, dependable actors? They probably cost them more than everybody else. And so, do you think it's that, or is it just more poor writing?
I think it's that, because oh my god, we've got Paul Giamatti, we've got Holly Hunter. We must give them such a brilliant scene. For me, her best acting is when she's not saying anything and she remains silent. I know how funny that could sound, but when he's ranting at her, I think that's her best acting, because she's responding with silence, and sometimes. And she even admits later, which we didn't need the admission from. I knew that if I kept him talking, he would tell me too much, or he would do this, that, and the other. You don't need to say that, because we all know that to be true. And I found that all this exposition mixed up with Baby Boo and quoting The Sound of Music and all this modern language nonsense, I was just going, fuck's sake, you almost had me there. You almost had me believing that this was a proper exchange between two people that dislike each other. And then you go Baby Boo. I think, fuck me. No, absolutely not. That I'm totally lost from that. And I was a bit earlier than you. I was around the 38-minute mark where my eyes started to close and my head started to nod.
Well, I watched it in 2 parts. I watched the first 40 minutes on double speed, and then tonight I watched the last 20 minutes.
I
hate every minute of it.
I really envy you, because I can't watch stuff on double speed, because my brain just doesn't work like that. So I had to stop, go and get a cup of tea, go for a pee, come back, and then sort of like 10 minutes later and go, right, okay, 22 minutes ago. And I'd like you, Dan, I felt that a Base Under Siege episode of a science fiction program or fantasy should not fail. Okay, that is your absolute number one banker of an episode, where you want tension to be at its absolute height. You don't know who's going to live. You don't know who's going to die. You don't know what's going to happen. If everybody's going to get out in one piece. And they just kept on with this overly long B plot, whereby I was more concerned that there weren't any cushions again in Ake's room. So we've gone from cushions on that wooden bench to no cushions. No cushions to cushions to no cushions again. I'm thinking, who's the cleaner?
No, David, they're hollow cushions, right? Yeah, right. They know when to be there.
So I was more intrigued in that, and those scenes should have been kept for dramatic purposes should have been halved in length and better spaced out, because, as you said, all that tension that had just built up from the furies or the furries, it depends how you want to call them, from getting into the bridge, all that all that tension just went like that because of that exposition dump. And you think, oh, for God's sake, come on! I was getting into it then, and now you've brought me back out the episode, and that was really frustrating.
This is why I'm not can't rate it at all, because I agree with all the good elements that you've all brought up. I mean, that's all true, but it's got this drag factor. What are you gonna do? Like it's like having little pearls of normalcy on a big floating ship. What are you gonna fucking do? You've got this.
Gina Yashir was back in the cast again as was it Tala Knock or something like that? I can't remember what she's called. Just as awful as she was in the first.
You mean Plumpy?
Klingon, that's me.
Hashtag all hail Plumpy.
Oh, I love Snatch. Oh yeah.
Really is excruciating watching this woman wrestle with every line and fail and submit time after time after time. I suppose this is the kind of episode that we should expect in a show like this, where the new cadets are put through their paces. But the problem we keep coming up against is down to the writing, in that even when an episode, a story has a certain degree of virtue or production values or competency, is being displayed. I think Larry Teng, as I say, is the director of this. I think he was doing his best here. Just a lot more discipline, knocking this thing down to 42, 43 minutes, and really leaning into the idea that it was like a haunted house in that spaceship, and go with the kind of the final girl kind of trappings of that. Could have been fun. But we keep, again, another problem that we've got, and I try not to harp on about this, is the fact that conceptually this series is wrong. As a premise, it's wrong. As a time period, it's wrong. So you're fighting all of those things all the time as well, because the existence of this show doesn't make sense. And so, investing in any sci-fi, you've already got to suspend your disbelief when you watch any sci-fi show, and all of us are more than capable of doing that. But here you have to have about 50 million working gears to something like that. To I'll ignore that bit. Well, I'll ignore that bit as well, and by the time you think, well, I'll concentrate on the good bits, and like I say, there are good bits. I know that generally speaking, this has been better received, but I cannot rave about this, because if it was any other show, I wouldn't be giving it any quarter. I consider this to be quite an average episode of not just most other Star Trek shows, but of most television that I ever watched, Gary. I just don't think it was anywhere near.
One of the problems, especially when you have an episode like this, where you have half the cast trapped in this kind of confined space, I think they felt they had to, with such a large cast, they felt they had to either include everybody or service everybody. And a lot of the regular characters are just basically standing around like furniture. The blue guy, the preppy blue guy, is basically just there to stand and go like thumbs up to Genesis every few minutes. That's basically all he does in this episode. You have, on the away team, you have Jaden and Kyle, who do nothing at all for the entire. Kyle gets shot, and Jaden's there to hold his hand. That's basically their function. But you had to have them in this episode, I guess. But other than that,
to push that.
Other than that, they're pointless. I actually was thinking,
well, is it important to them, Gary, that every episode incrementally they've got to advance just in the margins, that the gay Klingon story, which they're not making as big a deal of that as I was expecting them to, but they're still making sure it's a presence, make sure that we know, that we accept, that we observe. And if they could give that, and having to tick those boxes, like you said, give everybody something to do, or every little plot that space to advance. Whereas the truth of the matter is, if they'd have put Caleb and maybe one or two other people max on the ship, and then have Cootie Pants Dylan back on the ship trying to communicate with him. You could have focused on their connection, which would always loop back to that love scene. Then your story has shape. Then every character involved has purpose. Then you have momentum, you have economy, and we don't all feel like we've wasted another hour of our time yet again.
I just think especially in a setup like this, every character should like serve a function. If they're not there to serve a dramatic function, get them out.
Yeah,
and focus on who you have. I mean, you have, for example, the Jem'Hadar woman. I realized in this episode that they're relying on her cosmetic Jem'Hadar look as her characterization. They're totally ignoring the fact that she's like a Klingon. At one point, when she calls the I'm going to call them Reavers, because basically that was a stone cold ripoff of Firefly's Reavers, were these Furies. But at one point she calls them, "Oh, those bastards." Why couldn't the writer say, "Oh, why doesn't she call them like Patak?" That would be like an acknowledgement of her Klingon side. It would make sense, but no, it's like the writers like forget from week to week what they have to work with, and to inject little moments of like that make sense. For Holly Hunter's character, I said earlier, Giamatti's character wiped the floor with her. She's 400 years old. Nothing that she does, with all the supposedly like accumulated wisdom of somebody who's been in Starfleet most of the time, and yet, as Rabbi said, she comes off as one of the most incompetent throughout the whole episode. I think he's planning something. Something doesn't feel right. You're 400 years old with 400 years of experience. Shouldn't you have been able to figure out that there was another agenda going on here? It's just, and
well, also, Gary, couldn't she have figured out? Couldn't she have possibly have put two and two together that this untrustworthy, nasty character that's been dogging her for decades might not be particularly trustworthy in this case? That's what a shit commanding officer, what an appalling chancellor. Next.
Well,
next.
And they have
the Mandelson side.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna bring up one of my big logic problems with this. At the end, we realize that he's playing like a double game to lure that other starship, the Sargasso, out to the graveyard, so that what he really wants, the station with all of the classified information, is vulnerable, right? Well, first of all, that begs the question for a ship like this ghost ship that they use all the time for training exercises, why don't they just tow it closer to Earth? Instead of leaving it out at this graveyard in space, tow it closer to Earth and use it there as a training ship. I couldn't figure out, but that aside. And then at the end, when Giamatti's people come and they're attacking the other starship, at one point I thought they blew it up, but no, they just damage it. I'm thinking, okay, wait. If the only starship protecting this classified thing, when in reality they'd have 2 or 3 protecting this classified space station, if they lure it out to the graveyard where they dispose of it almost immediately, why not? If the ship was that vulnerable, why didn't Giamatti's people and these Furies just attack it at the space? Why this elaborate ruse to get the ship out to this graveyard so the station it's protecting is vulnerable? If the ship was that vulnerable in the first place, dispose it. I mean, just go attack it there.
Yeah, you're right.
That just made no sense to me.
The whole thing about it's a naval thing, really. It's classified as when a naval ship goes down, okay, in an act of war or something, it goes wrong. It's considered a crime to desecrate a ship that's sunk with all hands. It's classified as a war grave. Essentially, there's some in the South Atlantic from the Argentinian conflict over the Falklands War. So what that becomes a war grave, and anybody that wants to go diving and inspecting it can be prosecuted. That's it, because it's meant to stay there as a symbol of respect. You don't get so it makes sense that the ship is left there as a graveyard, if you see what I mean.
I'll accept that
as a moment of that. But then what you don't do is that you don't then put your naval cadets onto that ship to desecrate the grave. Okay, because
but clearly, David, they'd been there before because they'd already kind of upgraded some of the war kids had earlier upgraded some of the systems earlier.
Well,
they said that.
Well, Chad says he's been on the ship for 6 months and he wants to go on vacation. Yeah. So yeah, there's always.
Oh yeah, the minute he says that, you know he's toast. The minute he says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to my shore leave," it's like R.I.P., dude.
As soon as I saw him being the traditional male character, I'm like, yeah, you're screwed, dude.
The issue is there is no experience or probably talent in the writers' room at all. Right, this should have been a 42-minute episode, right? And the lack of discipline to bring that out just means they don't know the job. As David pointed out, the shape of the episode was all wrong, right? It had merit to it. It was just like it's too flat. They're not working hard. That's the bottom line. They're not working on their craft, right? Again, they should have limitations on 42 minutes, right?
They don't, Rabbi. The thing is, they don't even read their own, or it doesn't appear that they read their own past scripts, because
they couldn't give a shit. Yeah.
Because one of the points that Gary and I agreed on, and Gary, you can have the other one if I take this one, was about the fact that we've established 3 episodes prior to this that if you shoot a hologram, they are semi-permeable, and it doesn't have an effect on them. Especially if it's a phaser. So Sam gets shot with a phaser and gets injured when we've seen her get shot by a phaser before, and it doesn't teleport her because she's semi-permeable. So, or she can make herself semi-permeable and things will pass through her. So if you're in the writing room, you'd go, right, episode 6, we've got to find a way to disable Sam. Oh yeah, right, okay, we'll shoot her and she can glitch. Well, hang on a minute. Where is the voice in the writer's room, or the story editor, or the exec producers going, well, hang on a minute. 3 episodes ago, we said that she's semi-permeable. So if you shoot her, it'll just pass through. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. So how else can we disable her? Oh, sod
it. They're too lazy. I'm telling you, this is too much work.
Forget about it.
You know, the one thing about Sam, who to me is still far and away the worst character on this show, and here once again, she starts freaking out. Whenever she has no control under pressure. The one really dumb thing I thought that they did with her, and I'm not even going to bring up the comic book because I'm sure all of you have more pointed things to say about that. So. At one time, she sticks her hand into the computer console, right? I mean, into it, basically, so she can kind of interface with it and get the what is it, the shields back or something, right?
Yeah.
So she's basically jamming her hand in. She's like directly interfacing with the computer, and I'm going, and yet she's still talking to it. Computer, do that. At that point, I don't want to hear her voice. You know what I mean? Why is she still talking to the computer? Computer, raise the shields, raise the shields. She's directly interfacing.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have to say a single word. I know why they do it, because for a television show, she has to act all panicky.
But a secondary character can sort of just stare at her while her eyes go funny and explain to us what's going on that can happen then. Again, it's more X-Men stuff.
Well, the X-Men, since I'll say this quick point about the X-Men. I know that we'll get to it. I won't dive too deep. At the end, Tarima, which is we all been expecting for 5 episodes now, kind of goes all Dark Phoenix with her at the end with her sonic scream. Since you mentioned the X-Men, Dan, why is all of a sudden now, why is she Banshee now? She's a Betazoid. Why does she have a sonic scream like Banshee in the X-Men? That makes no sense.
I thought it was a psychic scream.
To do whatever they need her to do. It's like it's the same with any sort of super-powered, mega-powered characters in any show. It's just new to Star Trek because they haven't plumbed to these sort of depths before. Their abilities can do whatever the writers need them to do to get them out of whichever hole they've dug for themselves.
Yeah,
these people are morons.
But
Gary,
she does that from inside his head.
What was it, Rabbi?
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Rabbi.
For you to view it at the IQ level this is meant to be viewed at, you've got to get a brick, right? And you've got to go to your temple of your head and smash it down at it once or twice, right?
One thing
and then you'll watch us go, oh, it's cool, man.
The one thing I will say about this, and I was everybody from the get-go, we're expecting, okay, she's going to come in, she's going to resolve it. I will say at the end, I thought, okay, so we have basically the War College guy who's toast, right? We have the Vulcan who's dead. She's in a coma at the end. And at the end of the episode, Dan, all I could think is, why are all the casualties on the War College side? The only casualty is like, we get the line about Sam. Oh, it's all right. She'll be okay. It's like there absolutely should have been some kind of casualty for this to mean anything. Nope. There should have been casualties on both sides instead of having all of the casualties front loaded onto the War College side. I don't know who would have been, but there should have been an Academy casualty on this too.
Jean Grey, aren't they? Dark Phoenix, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
There was an impending sense of menace, and this being a streaming show, they don't make as many episodes a year as they used to, and each production tends to have an overrunning story and a theme. I do like this about modern TV, that you don't necessarily know whether each character is going to survive because they've signed on for 3 years. We had a character die at the end of Strange New World season 1, for example, and various other characters like that. So I'm a bit sad that it was Noel Gallagher here that had to die, because I thought he was getting quite interesting. But I was expecting it, and I was expecting more. But I had noticed that it was rather War College heavy. To be more effective, it should really have been one of the regulars, because there's enough of them, heaven knows.
Because the thing for me is when they said the line, "Oh, she screamed and it caused her dad's auditory canal to explode." I was thinking, well, that's the answer to the episode then halfway through, and then she's unconscious, okay, and she's inside Caleb's head, and she screams inside Caleb's head, and yet everybody else is. All the furries or the furies, their brains explode. Yet she's unconscious, and she's doing it from inside his head. So how on earth does that make? Sorry, I'm just asking a question because I'm really.
I wish I'd got the answer. I wish I'd got the answer. I was trying to follow it as the story was going along, and I thought, well, is Caleb a component part of this? Their connection from when he'd been banging her back doors at the beginning of the episode. It was that an integral part of it, that they had bonded on that level, and so he'd become an unwilling participant in this, as he had been with her invading his childhood memories too. But again, because it was also it's undercooked in the ways just more attention to these little things rather than pushing everything else into it to fill out the runtime and to advance things that don't matter, such as, you do know this Klingon's gay, don't you? You have noticed that, haven't you? He is gay. You get it, don't you? You accept it, don't you? All the things that just don't matter. If they'd concentrate on the story in hand at the moment in time, in the 45, 50, 55 minutes tops, that they've got my commitment to sit down and watch this thing, then maybe I'd respect them a lot more, and I know I'd be considerably more entertained.
Dan, I think this is what was going on in story, right? They psychically connected, right? This shit was shit. I hated this shit. It was absolutely shit. Fuck off with this, okay? Don't give me this bullshit. Never again. Fuck off. Oh, you fucking Ferengi, you cunts. Anyway, what was I saying?
About the psychic blast.
Oh yeah, fine. So what I think happened is they were, psychically joined, and then she ripped a doodad out, right, so she could supercharge it, and then she does a psychic scream, right, which uses Caleb as a
conduit
emitter.
sort of thing.
Yeah,
like he emits from him, and it melts all the bad guys.
Because that's what I
think was happening.
He's effectively assassinated them all on her behalf. So he should be pissed. But all of this is so unclear because it's not very well written.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I had a real big problem understanding. And look, I'm quite easy to understand things. Okay, I'm a bit thick. Okay, when it comes to things, I'm not thick. So no, I'm not thick. Okay, but normally I can understand the most basic of things, and to me it was sort of like, so is he a conduit? Is he having, how's it going? Why would that make her? Why would removing her emitter make her have a fit? Surely when she removes her things, bad things happen to other people and not her, as it was described. So why is she now unconscious? When she, why is this happening, and why kept coming up?
Okay,
I'm thinking,
well, I would think. Okay, first of all, I think the thing on her neck is
write it. That's why.
Well, the thing on her neck is a dampener. I got the idea. It's a dampener.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like a circuit breaker. It can cut off, whenever her powers get out of control, and I think by ripping it out, it's like she basically went into overload.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Oh, she wanted powers, right? She wanted those powers to use to melt the bad guys.
Yeah, she knew she had to rip out that dampener in order to do what she did. Right. But then it like short-circuited her. After she did it, it kind of short-circuited her.
So much power went through her or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So she's sort of like gone into a voluntary coma sort of thing. Yeah. I see. But yeah. Oh my goodness me! What happened to really simple concepts? I mean, because the thing is, and this goes through.
They cannot write this. They cannot write this stuff. So just as you said, there's masses and masses of dialogue when there doesn't really need to be any, because they need the exposition to all be on 2 or 3 different actors. And then in moments like this, where things are really quite involved, they're not writing enough. They're not giving people enough things to say. We're supposed to just look at the pretty pictures and the incredible special effects, because again, there were some great special effects and sequences in this, and that's meant to be enough. We're meant to be watching and kind of joining those dots ourselves. But this is meant to be about people. This is the story generally. The premise of the show is meant to be about people, about a group of young people reaching their potential through the process of making their way through academy life, if you like. And yet when we need that, when we need to be connected to that, when we need to be conscious of that, then they say the very, very least. They'd rather include jokes about sphincters and STDs. Didn't Paul Giamatti mention chlamydia at one point? What the fuck?
He did, and I'm not quite sure what chlamydia has got to do with Star Trek.
Nothing does
it made them giggle. It made the writers giggle with saying chlamydia in an episode of Star Trek.
Or why it wouldn't have been cured by now.
You know what the show really needs? I'm not joking. You know who'd be great to run the writers' room for this? Russell T Davies. He would actually he has enough classic story, respect that he would knock it into shape, right? And he'll keep all the gay queer shit, right? Obviously, but at least it'll be knocked into shape of it's just not professional. That's
basically anybody but Alex Kurtzman is the worst possible person to be show running pretty much anything. I've come to the conclusion, but particularly anything associated with people and how human beings actually behave and relate to one another. And I'm not even convinced that he understands the target audience in simply the kind of people, no matter what age they are, where they live in the world, who will be naturally inclined to watch science fiction TV.
What do you reckon is the next showrunner for Doctor Who? Alex Kurtzman.
There's a there's a simple metaphor that I was explained to by my dearly late grandfather, who said in sort of life, when people sort of overcomplicate stuff, whether it be in work or in life or when doing any sort of activity, is that, and I think this applies to this writer's room and to this production, and it's a baking reference, that people often concentrate too much on trying to put the cherry on top of the cake without considering the fact that they actually need to bake the cake in the first instance. So they concentrate too much on that little bit of decoration instead of actually building, making the thing that it's actually going to sit on. And I think that this is a prime example of the cherry on top of the cake. They want that cherry on top of the cake, but they've completely forgotten the fact that they've got to bake a cake in the first instance, and it's got to be edible and presentable, because they're focused on something completely different. To say, oh, we can make it brilliant by doing this, rather than
the consumer, the audience member, or the license fee payer, or the subscriber seems to be the last person in anybody's minds. This is broadly speaking across so much of media now, and this has simply got to change. I mean, you sort of expect it with tuppenny halfpenny operations like anything the BBC does, for example, but you wouldn't think that Paramount. It beggars belief. I mean, if this entire show.
Well, I did enjoy watching Paul Giamatti's character kind of basically spotlight how incompetent Holly Hunter's character is. I just, every week by week, she just is proving to be just a complete incompetent. And this episode, once again, pointed out why the War College guy should be running this academy. Because he was more competent and knew what to do and make the right decisions. But we can't have that. Heaven forbid we have a competent male.
A couple of years ago, we were told. I think it was the opening episode of Strange New Worlds when we were introduced to Uhura, and this was a character, a take on a classic character, which I was kind of determined not to like, really, but it was built so well and rebuilt so well, I suppose, and framed so in a compelling way. We thought, okay, this person, this young woman, lost her family. Her direction in life isn't certain, but this is where she feels that she needs to be right now, even if she isn't there for the same reasons as everybody else. It was hardly revolutionary, but it was carefully put together and beautifully played by Celia Rose Gooding, I think the actress's name is. And this was only 2 or 3 years ago. And so here we are. They've got an opportunity to deliver us 8 characters as carefully observed as her, and different kinds of stories that not just young people can watch and possibly relate to, if maybe they're on the threshold of life and are feeling a little antsy that they haven't got all the answers, but older people as well who think, I was a bit like that, and what I would do if I had my time over again. And then in yet another way, this show feels like a massive missed opportunity because they're harder to relate to, if anything, as the series goes on. Episode 6, come on, it's just not coming together, this. I don't hold out much hope, despite the fact that, again, I think that in many ways this was better. Not for 6 episodes of 10, it isn't better.
The biggest moment for me, Dan, is the one that should have been the most powerful moment across this series so far was when Paul Giamatti's character, is taunting Ake over the fact that her decision past decisions that she made resulted in the loss of her child and the death of her child. And it should have been as powerful as when, Captain Kirk discovers the fact that the Klingons have just shot David. Okay, you see him collapse to the floor, stunned, emotion. His mask has totally been dropped of control and everything, and he's completely vulnerable. And the fact that it just felt that such a massive moment, the reveal that we didn't know about so far, that reveal was just like another line, just
washed out. It washed over me, David. It completely washed over me.
It was just such a massive sort of, that should have been a massive reveal, and it should have had such an impact, but it just didn't have. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a cold-hearted person. Of course I'm not. But from my perspective, it was just sort of like a sort of like sort of moment. It wasn't just, there was just no register of real emotion from Holly Hunter. Sort of nothing, how dare you bring that matter up, or, nothing like that. It was just sort of like, this big revelation, and then nothing. It was met with nothing. I was just, that took me out of the episode.
She doesn't believe in the character that she's playing, or the world that the character inhabits. She's totally at sea.
I think either she or the character is very high on something, right? It's like interesting and weird, right? But like shrooms or something.
I think she's got dementia.
Maybe it's heroin. Right?
To her credit, she was sitting up for the entire episode.
She was sitting up and just staring with no reaction, no emotion on her face other than looking confused.
Yeah, that was it, Chris.
A very strange performance.
Yeah, that was it.
And then, you know what, Chris, you're exactly right. And then I thought that in the moment, and then they try to validate it later with that line, "Oh, I knew that if I just stayed silent, kept him talking." No, that doesn't validate your minimalist performance there, where you're just sitting in the chair and he's basically, steamrolling all over you.
I can tell you, I've never had an easy time, or as easy a time as this, in terms of getting screen caps, because every time I pause it on Holly Hunter's Captain Mumbles, she just looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
which is awesome because it makes my job easy. In terms of the writing, when we're criticizing the writing of the show, we have to remember that this is written by complete morons.
Yeah.
Given the very premise of this show, which has been done before on Star Trek, in the hands of competent writers, the general idea might have worked, but here the execution is, how shall we put this, somewhat problematical. Also, it's in terms of what the hell Giamatti's plan, I guess it is kind of a stretch where they think, okay, I'm going to set this whole thing up, and they're just going to come up with the idea to call me. I'm like, you're putting up a lot of weight on the hope that they're just going to, out of the blue, just he can fix it. It's okay. So just coincidentally, like, oh yes, the one thing out of the like millions of options, that's the one that they come up with.
Wait. Was it like a big thing that just happened? Right? Was that a part of the con as well?
Well, the con was, from what I could tell, that actually was not explained very well in the episode because, once again, the writers are morons. But the way that I interpreted it, and it's really sad that basic plot points have to be up for interpretation, but here we are. That he had conspired with the big meanies, that's my name for these, they're the big meanies, to attack the ship, and then take the our scrappy Zoomers hostage, and then it's betting on the fact that they are going to summon what the hell Giamatti to come and because he's the only one that can save this. And then this plan also depends on that other ship that has nothing to do with the rest of this, but that other ship leaving the starbase that it's guarding, because apparently, even though it's like super secret base, they only have one ship guarding it.
Yep.
And they have to bring the ship over
Yep.
because Mumbles is such an idiot that she can't solve this on her own. So they need another ship to come in and save the day. So banking on the fact that this one ship that's guarding the secret starbase is going to be the one ship that's going to come over to save the day. I'm like, okay, so in terms of laws of probability, what are the chances of all these things working? So again, just to summarize, his plan is to kidnap a bunch of Zoomers on a ship, hope that they're going to call him to come in and save the day, and then hope that another ship that's guarding the one space station is going to be the one ship that's actually called in to save the day. Then he's going to be able to escape them with all his stuff, and then be able to take over the space station. Okay, so there's this thing called suspension of disbelief. Now, in writing, yes, writing is fantastical, and writing does involve a lot of coincidence, like the X-Files. How is it, no matter when Mulder or Scully go on vacation, crazy things happen? It creates the show. But you can only suspend your disbelief to a certain point when you have something like this that is so convoluted. And again, it's terrible writing. And then you got this revelation about Mumbles, which is just kind of thrown in there. And again, I more so than the revelation, I was mesmerized by how mismatched these two actors were. How Giamatti is, it's him, he's a genius, and Holly Hunter used to be good. I don't know what the hell happened there, but he's just acting the hell out of her.
Yeah.
And in terms of the earlier question, why was it the only the war kids that died? Well, simple. The war kids and Mr. Shooty Pants are your villains, so you want them to die. Yeah. As soon as I like the cool Vulcan, he was the only character on the show that I didn't hate. And of course he was going to die. We all knew that Chad was going to die the second he showed up on the screen. It's also predictable. And I also find it pretty funny in terms of the complete incompetence of the people that are running the ship, the adults, Plumpy and friends. Okay, so you have experienced adults that are supposed to be running this ship, but you have like 17-year-old girl boss Genesis and Toxic Timmy that basically solve your problem. So basically, you guys suck to the point that teenagers have to solve your problems, and you have to have another ship come in to save your ass while getting a bunch of people killed. Also, in terms of the ship that left its post, isn't that kind of like dereliction of duty? Okay, you got a bunch of people killed.
Yeah, that admiral is in deep trouble.
Oh, I was about to say, well, we call him General Wimpy. But yeah, so General Wimpy, I'm like, okay, so your captain's an idiot. The other ship had to come in because your captain is an idiot. You made this decision to pay off what the hell Giamatti with all his stuff and his little plan. I'm like, you people suck. And all this time, Captain Kirk is just like, oh yes, and let's not forget, they also negotiate with terrorists because at the beginning, when the big meanies have taken over the ship, they're like, okay, we're going to give them the ransom. What? So the idea that we don't negotiate with terrorists or bad people is apparently now thrown out the window because this whole situation just happened. It's like the next scene and they're ready to pay off and negotiate with the terrorists. Like,
yeah, I wondered about that as well at the time, and
so
then
many bad points.
Forgotten
it's
about
so
it
badly
since.
written. Nothing holds together. It's so contrived. This might be one of the most contrived hours of television I have ever seen. It's quite humorous when you think of it.
Things aren't going well, are they, for the kids? All the adults at Starfleet Academy. We're past the halfway mark onto episode 6. Now, what would Kirk have made of all of this? He'd have given us a different kind of sex episode, wouldn't he? This is how they did it back on the original series, yeah. And then on TNG, this is what sex looked like back then. What does it look like now? What does it look like now? Well, more like this, really. I think it was probably more.
No!
At some point in the
Is that the next? Is that a scene from the next episode?
If we're lucky, you never know. You never know. So we're reviewing Starfleet Academy here week on week because someone has got to. So that was episode 6, currently on Paramount Plus, the whole world over. Because haven't we suffered enough? Is the general lay of the land there. So we want to know what you think of that. Of course we do, in the comments on YouTube and Rumble. We'll take some of those comments in a little while, and we're going to look across the view screen too to figure out if anybody else feels the same way as we do. What are the Trek Massive saying about all this? Are they running defense or simply running away? Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and reconnect with you and all of that. Where to next? How about here? Yes.
I am Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Enterprise.
Captain James Kirk.
I'm Commander Benjamin Sisko.
I offer my services as science officer.
McCoy here.
Scott here, Doctor.
This is Commander Riker.
There's something you need to know.
Relax.
Good idea. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Welcome aboard.
Fire!
Adventure doesn't get any bigger than this. Over 300 adventures on video cassette are waiting to be discovered right in your living room.
That was awesome.
Brilliant.
That was really awesome. I love that.
You feel better. You feel better now, Rabbi. You feel better already.
I feel cleansed. I feel clean.
Washed it all away. Yeah, this is the bit where we plot where you are at with all of that, all the stuff that we've been saying, as well as that latest episode of Starfleet Academy. So have we gone too hard, or given them an easy pass? I don't know. You may think we have.
On the Beta Z check.
You could be right. You could be right. We've got Farsight, who was in early doors with this comment: a Klingon in a skirt, a Vulcan who reads comics, and a captain who reminds me of Hattie Hadridge as Holly in Red Dwarf. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a good thing? Maybe not. I think I'd call that a bad thing. Yes, I would definitely call that a bad thing. And Christopher Snyder says Alex Kurtzman doesn't have the lobes.
Oh,
I'm telling you, next Doctor Who showrunner, not that we're mentioning the show, next showrunner, he'll be available. It's going to happen. BBC will snap him up. It's going to happen.
According to Farsight, Amy Williams was gorgeous. Who's Amy Williams?
British Olympic skeleton bob winner.
Wow.
From 2010.
Wow.
Google
That's
her.
Incredible.
And you Google her, Rabbi, and you will see exactly what Farsight says. Amy Williams, skeleton bob.
Is she top heavy by any chance?
She is absolutely stunning.
Okay, I'm looking right now.
Well, our man is on the case, Farsight. Thank you. Are there any
Oh boy, he's pretty.
Are there any species pairings in Starfleet Academy?
That's in my age range.
No.
We've lost him. Are there any same species pairings in Starfleet Academy? I don't know. There are they?
We had Holly Hunter and the Klingon. We have the Betazoid Princess and whatever Caleb is. We've got the Klingon and Kyle, which actually I think that would be a good spin-off show, the Klingon and Kyle. No same species.
We're
Stephen
going to have
Brannick
Sam
says,
and a dot matrix printer.
Stephen Brannick says, I'm fed up seeing up that damn hologram's nose.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of looks up her hooter, don't we? For one reason or another at various different angles.
Well, like, really, why couldn't you be hit like with a decompiling ray for holographics? Like, why can't they just done that? I mean, for fuck's sake, you fucking morons. Oh, none of these writers couldn't be improved by having the head held underwater for 10 minutes. Or what I'm saying.
Even Kirk would he'd struggle to take that on, wouldn't he? Who the hell came up with that title? Was it some Somalians? Says Thoti. So you mean this title? Come, let's away. As we've since discovered, due to the more cultured people on the panel, it is a quote. It is from Shakespeare, as Barry said, but not the Shakespeare that they seem to think it's from another Shakespeare altogether.
I figured it was going to be a reference to the opening scene.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, well, it's King Lear, you see, and it's not Romeo and Juliet, and that's where a lot of people on the social medias have got themselves confused.
Couldn't they just go to ChatGPT and say, "Can you give me a cool quote from Romeo and Juliet?"
I mean, it's King Lear, Act 5, Scene 3, if you want to be specific.
I just assumed it was some reference to an away team.
Me too, Dan. That's what I was thinking.
Call me, yeah, a Philistine.
Hey, David, I have a theory, right? That you're in fact a Terminator sent back in the past, right? And waiting as a sleeper agent, and your brain has just compiled all these facts, and one that you're going to be activated, and you're going to kill the Queen. Is that what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
I would say it's more like they looked at Star Trek, the original series, and the very well thought out, clever titles that we frequently saw, and decided they had a list of these are from Discovery on forward. They have a list. What's the most pretentious title we can assign? And then they just pull from that list every week. And that's where this comes from, because they think they're being deep. They're special people. Like I said, it takes a special kind of special to have written this week's episode. It takes a special kind of special to write all of this. It's all very special. We're all special, except those of us on this stream, because we're all terrible, toxic white dudes. And we need to go sit in the corner with General Shooty Pants and bow to the degenerate. And
I haven't.
Okay, well, I
have another point of stupidity that I meant to bring up before I run away. So you're telling me that that Mumbles. So basically, she gets her son killed through negligence or not responding quick enough. So that's not why she leaves Starfleet. So you're going to tell me that getting her own son killed wasn't enough, but putting a thieving, getting people killed single mother in a mental facility for a little bit, that's enough to make you quit. So you didn't quit because you got your kid killed. You quit because you were mean to She-Hulk. Yes, thank you, Zulu. That explains it all right there perfectly. Again, nothing makes sense. This is not how normal people react to any situation. It's all silly. And what fun we've had. Yes, and then we've got that.
Actually, you know what, Chris, this episode could have been absolutely redeemed for me is if that doctor who was examining Sam at the end, and I don't know why you're having a human doctor examine a hologram as opposed to maybe a couple of engineers.
Look who wrote it.
But whatever.
Oh, the hologram doctor who stood right next to her.
Exactly. If they would have changed his line from "Oh, she'll be okay" to "I'm sorry that alien blast completely corrupted her program. We're not going to be able to save her." Boom. That might have redeemed the episode for me.
No, they're not going to write around. But they should have put it under some like real jeopardy. I just had an idea for a great episode that would work in any Star Trek. Imagine a super rich Vulcan, right? That's got, what was that thing? Bendai syndrome?
Yes.
And he's using his fortune to recreate the Genesis effect so he can regenerate himself like Spock, right? And it's a race to stop him doing that.
That's actually a great.
I think you've got a movie pitch there.
That'd be really good.
But Funky thinks the only way to save Academy, though, maybe if it's revealed that the whole thing is one of Barclay's weird holodeck.
No, that even Barkley was never this degenerate.
Yeah,
I bet he was. I bet that holodeck needed cleaning.
That could work. That could work because when he debuts in season 3 of TNG, he says delete all programs apart from program, I think it's 9 or it could be 13. I don't know which one the exact number it is, and that could be the program that he didn't delete because it was so wacky. He was he's so pleased that he'd created that wackiness. He couldn't possibly delete it because
it's the dirtiest, filthiest thing he ever could
undo it all. Got this comment here from this account who I can't pronounce that, so I'll just say thank you for the comment.
Wow.
All those episodes dealing with time and continuum, and we get the burn.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, and this person also says a Star Trek Unity for the win. So I don't know whether that's
Hebrew. And it's mog og no. Okay, mog og ogo. Mog og ogo.
There we are. That's cleared that up.
What does it mean, Rabbi?
I have no idea.
Who cares? We've got this from Stephen Braddock, who points out that Caleb was on a desolate planet, then in prison all his life, but somehow he knows everything. Will he have you believe that he's read a book on everything?
Well, no. The idea is, if we remember, one of the worst parts of Discovery, and there were many to be had. But if we weren't going on about how awesome Fat Tilly was, the entire show was, and it became a punchline at one point, how everybody thought that Michael Burnham was the most awesome thing ever. It's to the point of parody. If we remember how, it's like every character, oh my God, Michael, you're the best thing ever. Well, now that show's been done, we need our new Michael Burnham. So we have Caleb the Degenerate, who is the most awesomest at everything. And if Caleb can't solve it, Girl Boss Genesis can. But I'll tell you who can't. Toxic Timmy, that poor bastard. And what about Baby Pants? Yeah, I just feel bad for Baby Pants, that poor bastard.
Brian says, I like my Star Trek like I like my women, bloated and incoherent.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, fair play. You know why he knows everything, obviously, Caleb. It's because whilst he was on reduced privileges inside his detention center, he obviously downloaded the whole back catalogue of Reader's Digest and read everything. So that's why he knows everything, because he read the entirety of Reader's Digest.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or
Funky Wonders,
the beta set who was plugged into the planetary library.
Yes.
Funky wonders if there was a better story in that comic book that they were looking at. Well, I suspect we'll never know.
Well, did anybody notice that
decide to publish it?
Well, Dan, did you notice that the uniforms also didn't correlate in that comic book?
Yeah.
The whole idea was everybody here is too stupid to solve the mystery of what happened, including the computer. So they have to read the comic books based on what happened to try and unravel the mystery, which by itself is quite the laughable.
Dan, I have every confidence that we're going to get a version of that comic from IDW.
Well, did you also notice that this comic book was also using the uniforms from Star Trek, the original series?
Yeah, I did.
1,000 years after.
And that's not a knock on IDW, by the way, which has been producing a lot of really great Trek stuff. This is an opportunity that's just too good for them to.
Listen, Ultimate Star Trek comic books were the original series movies ones by Mike W. Barr, right? And they had a whole series of stuff happen between Star Trek.
I used to buy those as well, mate.
The Mirror Universe saga.
When we're done with Starfleet Academy, these are topics we're definitely going to dive into, because I know that we all love multiple runs at multiple companies. Wolf instead says, whoever wrote this episode, it was the best episode so far, minus opening. So do you mean
that doesn't say a lot?
No,
says very little.
It's like the nicest Nazi,
which nugget of dog shit do you want to pick up? because you forgot your
PD
bag.
Whereas
So
PD
you
Rich
got to pick up
says,
the dog shit.
whereas PD Rich says, Chris, that for every one good point, there are 10 awful points to
he's
go
right.
with it.
PD Rich, we need to have a talk, my friend.
And it's
you
not
are
like
being far too generous.
It's not like New Trek can't do a good version of this episode. They already did in the season 1 episode of Strange New Worlds with the Gorn, when they're on that planet and the Gorn.
Yeah, it was great. That really, really good.
It was better in the
says,
TNG episode where Wesley had his like warp blip, right? So they could go like a 2-second warp. Remember that kind of war game episode?
Oh, the battle.
Well, that's the one. Season 1. It
No,
was,
the battle was about the
battle, yeah, it was the Frankie came in and
Picard's old ship, the Stargate.
Oh yeah, it's the War Games one.
Yeah, that's the one.
We've got some comments here. I'm trying to get through some of these comments because people have been quite patient waiting for us to talk. Kroom says, this episode could have been so good if it was a slow build throughout, but it was just up and down, etc., which is, again, I think various, at different points, I think we've all said sort of similar versions of the same thing there, David, that it did kind of bob around or pace the floor or whatever. And Kroom also says that main characters got a week off on the other shows. Is it because this is only 10 episodes that they all have to appear? So it could be something contractually, and Gary's nodding his head. Do you think that's likely then?
Like I said,
run?
You had so many characters standing around doing nothing in this episode. That's got to be the only explanation.
Yeah, I think there's probably something in that. Why are there never any Tellarites? Asks Barry. Well, the night is young. Maybe we'll get some in the future at some point. And,
they were in Enterprise, I believe, weren't they?
Yeah.
Mostly, I think, in Enterprise. Maybe there was some in DS9 as well. And Power Ranger Donnie says, are you as excited as I am about Super Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity? Donnie, I have no idea what you're talking about, but you do you. Have fun with that, whatever it is. And Robot Shlomo says, I've been calling Giamatti's character Pig Vomit. Can anybody remember the character's actual name? I'll be honest, David, I can't.
Newsbraka.
There you go.
Newsbraka, that's the one. Thank you.
Ridiculous. We've got one man's terrorist is another man's murderous freedom fighter. Is that a line from Blake 7 or something good? Sounds like it could come for something good. And Robot Shlomo also speculates here that Starfleet would never have left an experimental warp drive out in the open, Rabbi. They would have probably recovered the ship or simply destroyed it.
Absolutely. Good point.
Everyone agrees. Robot Shlomo. Yeah, thank you for that.
Unless it's buried in
and
an
on that
asteroid.
note, I have to steal Rabbi's line about crackers, but Rabbi, just say it for me.
Are you cream cracker, darling? You can tell us.
Well, not entirely, but yes, this is also. I've been a jerk in leaving early because I'm the only way I will get my videos done. I have to go and spend the next half hour yelling into a microphone before it gets too late and I yell my voice.
Enjoy your 3 more watches of this episode.
No, it's only I've already done 3. It's only 1 left to get.
Well, Chris, we know that the Bowlestrek Massive are awaiting your next video, and the needs of the many do outweigh the needs of the one. So it's very, very noble of you. Well,
I'm looking forward to this being done because if I had to do any more than 10 weeks of this, I'd pretty much be dead. It's like once a year I spend 8 to 10 weeks in absolute hell because I decide I'm going to do these things to myself. But yes, folks, I must go finish writing my script, scream into a microphone for a little bit, and then get to experience hours and hours of editing tomorrow. So all of you who think you have it bad, as I keep saying, you only have to watch the episode once. Every time I do a video, I get to spend on average 12 hours with this episode, with every episode, including last week. So I must say, fare thee well. For next week, we'll be back to the Final Destination style PSA. I just got to decide which one I'm going to torture everyone with, and live long and hope this show dies a quick death. No, actually, no. This does not deserve a quick death. This deserves a long, painful death. At some point soon. So, signing off. Have fun, y'all.
Take care.
Same to you, Chris. We'll be thinking of you, mate. Enjoy.
Cheers, man.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks.
Oh, I won't. Bye.
Bye, mate. Bye. Rob is correct on that one. Says not C3PO. Rob who? Do you mean Rob? Robert Meyer Burnett. And it probably is. He's usually correct on most things. A friend of the show, Robert Meyer Burnett.
No, at Robo Slower.
Oh, okay. Later, Bowlestrek says PD Rich there in the live chat on YouTube. What else have we got? Thank you everybody for the comments. I think my favourite is this, that Barry reminds us that Riker was the original degenerate horn dog back in the mid to late 80s. He very much got that sorted. And to be fair to him, it's very difficult not to think along those terms when you're confronted with sites like this back on the Enterprise D.
I just hope that in the next episode, we're not back to the wacky antics of the all the cadets, like this episode didn't happen.
Well, they kind of got to do a sequel to this episode, haven't they? They got plot threads.
Yeah.
Oh God, how much worse is this going to get? It could be that Morn is going to turn up from Deep Space Nine. Robert Picardo shared this on his social media, so he says that Morn is still with us, and he's looking somewhat green about the gills. Thanks for that. I think another Deep Space Nine character that's going to get dragged out for a tour of duty here. But we've been looking across all of social media to see what the cast have been saying, what the media has been saying, the broader mainstream sort of entertainment media, and the fandom as well. Some of it has gone down better than others. And believe it or not, there are some people out there who do actually like this character, which takes all sorts, I suppose. But the first thing that I noticed is that there is a lot of talk this week in particular about ratings. So the Nielsen ratings, as they are compiled in the States, Gary. I mean, is this a very traditional way of gathering metrics in the same way that we've got Barb in Britain? So this is like an industry standard thing, and this is the trusted name in ratings when it comes to the States.
Yeah, I have absolutely no clue as to how in our new streaming world this works, but I know back in the day, when it used to be just like the three main channels and a simpler, better time, that Nielsen was, you lived or died with your Nielsen numbers, on the three networks. I'm not sure how in this new streaming structure, with the +7s, +28s, and 1,000,005 channels, how that works. But no, the Nielsen numbers are still, I'm sure, the studios and the networks, I'm sure.
Gary, I think the metric is minutes watched or something, minutes per 100.
They probably, you're right, Rabbi, they probably just added more metrics within the same kind of frame.
Nielsen exactly.
There's been a lot of talk about that this week, because I think some figures must have been published somewhere. Trek Central, who are a very mainstream sort of access kind of level people, they'll pretty much endorse anything for access to exclusives and previews of episodes and things like that. But even they led with this. Academy fails to reach the top 10 despite a strong start with critics. See, they've got to get that in first. Strong start with critics. Everybody else hated it. And a double episode premiere to boost numbers. Starfleet Academy has failed to engage viewers and has not made Nielsen's top 10 original streaming shows. So this has obviously been probably throughout the last 4 or 5 weeks, as those metrics would have accumulated, Gary, over X amount of periods of time. They've been collated and delivered. And this is the sort of official verdict. And everybody's running with this now. That Starfleet Academy is now officially a disappointment. Wherever you are, whether you're enjoying it or not, this has to be the clear conclusion, the only conclusion that can be drawn from whatever figures are out there. I've not seen the figures themselves myself, but this is the song that everyone's singing. So I'm not surprised.
the word you just used, which I think is very appropriate, you just used the word disappointing, for the Nielsen numbers. I actually think what's actually embarrassing is the fact that it's not even charting on Paramount Plus's own top 10 list.
Everybody loves
Nerdrotic gets more views.
Everybody loves
What was that, Rabbi?
I think Nerdrotic gets more views.
Oh,
yeah. Everybody loves Raymond is in the Paramount top 10. Okay,
that's an old show as well, isn't it?
That's a really old show. So if shows like Everybody Loves Raymond are getting more views and is in the Paramount top 10, one has to wonder how bad. I mean, it's a good show. Okay, it was a good show when it came out in the late 90s. Okay, I used to like Everybody Loves Raymond when they used to show it on, I think, on Channel 4. Okay, I like Frasier. I really like that program. Okay, but when you've got a 30-year show outperforming your blockbuster, new, exciting series that you've spent a hell of a lot of money on, and a repeat show from the 90s of a comedy is getting in your top 10, and that isn't, I feel that if you're an executive, you may wish to ask some questions as to why.
No, you don't want to ask those questions at all. You want to ask those questions that are never asked by anybody ever.
Things must be bad if Trek Central are kind of gently putting the boot in. So, obviously we may get some eventual figures that we can look at in the end, but I think this is probably all we need to know. Nobody is going to be surprised that people are voting with their hoofa-doofas and going pretty much anywhere else. Maybe people are trekked out, or they just know a turd when they smell one. As regards the characters, none of us are particularly sold on Captain Mumbles, and it does seem it's a pity Chris isn't around, because it does appear that Captain Mumbles as a moniker is traveling. So we've got this post here. This has been on Facebook. This was so Patrick W. Identity redacted said here this was on the official Star Trek promotional post for this week's episode. Patrick said, "Is Captain Janeway going to time travel so she can bitch slap Captain Mumbles when she spots her lounging in the captain's chair like she's getting ready to watch the Hallmark Channel instead of commanding a starship?" Very, very pithy remark there from Patrick, and he has to be a Bowlestrek fan, I suspect. So I'm going to send this to Chris later on. Captain Mumbles, but amazingly, Kate Mulgrew herself with the blue tick mark, she appeared, and she didn't hide Patrick's identity. Patrick, on the contrary, sending you and every other disrespectful troglodyte who insults my fellow captain and Starfleet officer to the brig, where you belong. Keep Janeway's good name out of it. Dismissed.
Wow. Was that really Kate Mulgrew who wrote that?
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Okay.
Looks like it.
She's been after a Janeway series, hasn't she, with Alex Kurtzman?
Well, Janeway was in Prodigy.
I mean, you could say that she's been ratioed, if there's a Facebook equivalent of being ratioed, because she gets 53 hearts there on her post. But Patrick, he races home with over 3 times the amount. 173 people click the like on Patrick's plea for a time-traveling bitch slap on Captain Mumbles. So we'll let you know whether that's likely. I think it's probably not. But yeah, this is very amusing. Yeah, there is a kind of solidarity with some of the actors and actresses, but with some there definitely isn't. I think you know which one I'm talking about. There's also this. So Giant Freaking Robot reported that Roger Avery was a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience, probably the biggest podcast in the world this week. And Avery said here, he disclosed the fact that he'd offered to work on Star Trek for free. So Roger Avery is a well thought of writer, isn't he? Very well connected, very accomplished writer. I offered to work on Star Trek for free and I was told no, Avery said. Alex Kurtzman, specifically he mentioned Alex Kurtzman earlier on, didn't want anybody who had any kind of fondness for the original show. He wanted to do something new and create something new. So as long as he could fuck up someone else's IP and annoy lots of generations upon generations of fans the whole world over. So, anybody ever heard of Roger Avery? I've heard of the name. I know that he's someone that people respect. And Joe Rogan has some great guests on. I try to watch it when I've got 3 or 4 hours spare, or listen to it. Nobody's going to be surprised by this, though, are they, Rabbi, that Kurtzman would have a heavy screening process. If you like Star Trek, you can't work on this show, pal.
Yeah, no, it's duh. Like, do you have any talent? No, well, you might be on board, right? It's like, yeah, it's a joke. I don't know how this got made. It must be some kind of tax write-off. Somebody's got to be making money off this somehow, because it just doesn't make any sense. It's like maybe it's like the producers, they got to make a complete flop.
That's right.
Because this couldn't be more of a flop, could it?
Doesn't seem. I can't see how this could be going down any worse than this, Gary, to tell you the truth. Because people didn't like Voyage. Kate Mulgrew, who I've got a lot of time for. I always liked Kate Mulgrew. Whatever I thought of Voyager wasn't particularly well received at the time. People were slow to warm to it. And Enterprise too, to be honest. Yeah. This is far from the first Star Trek show that's had a poor reception. But it has to be the worst received of them all by a country mile. Even when we look at the first couple of seasons of Picard, but we were disappointed. We were kind of crushed on some level. But people are just despairing of this, it seems to me.
Well, I got to say that, when I sit down to watch this show every week, I don't expect it to be bad. I actually hope that maybe this is the week we get something good. Really do. So, as far as Voyager and even Enterprise go, I think that even though, we started out today's show kind of talking about, how they could have tweaked it to make it really great. The great thing that all of the 4 main classic Trek series did, 5, is, say what you will about the occasional NAF script. I think they were very well cast. The ensemble was terrific. Voyager's ensemble was terrific. Even Enterprise's. And but this one, if you just look at the ensemble as a whole, like I said, I'm sure that the young cast is doing their best, but they're being utterly sabotaged by the writing. Honestly, I don't even know if, let me give you this, throw you this, Dan, and tell me if you think that even this would help. I would like, now that they've established these Furies, right? I would actually have the season finale be Newsbrocker returns, leads the Furies in an attack on the Academy on Earth, and that's how you call some of the cast members before the next season. You know what I mean? No, seriously.
Why not?
You do like a Dynasty Moldavia wedding type finale.
Yes.
Yes. And then you get rid of
perk things up a little bit. It was certainly perk things up a little bit. We've got one.
My routine, as opposed to David's there to watch the show, is he has a cup of tea, gets ready. I have a couple of bottles of tequila. That's how I start.
Well, that works.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I think
I eat the worm, right? Then I start the episode. I put it on double
speed. Eat the worm. It's funny you should mention that, Rabbi, because there are definitely rituals that people do have out there. And, I think Star Trek can help people who are in sort of...
Not this stuff, no. If you need help, don't watch this. This is bad. Like 17 minutes in is when I try heroin, right?
It may surprise you, Rabbi, to learn that there's an account on X that claims that Starfleet Academy has literally been a lifesaver. This is Stephen Byrne, who said, Starfleet Academy saved my father's life. I was visiting him in the hospital. He's been unresponsive for days. I turned on the TV in his room and watched this new show. Within minutes, my father woke up and he got up and changed the channel.
Very good.
It brings people back from death just to change over to bargain.
So maybe it was worth it. Whatever it cost, whatever all of this cost, Holly Hunter's career, millions, if not billions of pounds, the dignity and the memory of Gene Roddenberry. At least it saved Steve's dad's life there when he got up.
Well, there you
miraculously.
go. There you go.
Is it too much to hope for, guys? That
bloody and covered in cum, but this guy had a little bit of a jape, so it's all okay.
Is it too much to hope for that in a really kind of perverse way? I'm actually really hoping that this series does a musical episode.
Well, we got the Muppet episode next year with.
No, I want Starfleet Academy to do a full-on musical episode.
Wouldn't you love Alex Kurtzman to be sent to a Puerto Rican jail? All I'm saying. That would be just. You fucked us for a while, Alex. Now you're going to find out what it felt like.
I thought you'd like this, Rabbi, because I know you're a big fan of AI. We're probably reaching saturation point with AI at the moment.
Oh, my thumbnail for tomorrow is gorgeous. My day after thumbnail special. My day after Valentine's Day special.
A keen fan of Starfleet Academy has taken the time to imagine what the sequel series to Starfleet Academy could be that takes it even further. The progressive ideal behind Star Trek, and they've imagined Star Trek Madam President could be coming next. This is a genuine bit of fan art that somebody's put together, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect.
That is feasible.
Kind of perfect.
Yeah, that's the only way. You'd have a show that Academy is not worse than.
Is that Omar Sharif in the background?
Looks like it.
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
And Jinx Monsoon at the foreground, and
I was just going to say
various other people. Shemaima Begum is there too. So yeah, they're all there. Let us know what you think. Obviously, would you tune in for Madam President at the next Star Trek show? Maybe not.
Here's the thing, and we can all laugh at that very great piece of art that somebody created. But isn't it sad that it just seems in a way that at this point, mostly due to this show, that it's not just that Starfleet has been cast back into a niche position again. It's now basically become the butt of a joke week by week. And that's honestly really sad.
It's as I said, a bloody and a cum-covered butt at that.
It's Alex Kurtzman's fault. This is the best part of 10 years of this guy being able to treat it as his sort of pension, really long-term sort of pension. He can just keep his head down and churn out this shit.
All I'm saying, 6 years in a Puerto Rican prison. It'll be just.
That'll put
Grab
him
those
straight.
bars, Alex.
That'll put him straight. Yeah, I mean, I'm very
pick up the soap, Alex.
Or the Bangkok Hilton.
Exactly. Yeah, so, that's just the gods.
This has been our review and the general lay of the land out there concerning episode 6 of Starfleet Academy. We've watched it, so you don't have to, as the saying goes. Thank you for all the comments there on YouTube and Rumble. We hope we've helped for those who've endured it as we have. And all the stuff on social media as well. It's fascinating to look out there and see how it's being received, because sincerely, you do sometimes wonder, well, is it just me? Am I getting too old for this shit? Should I still be watching it? Should I stick to my old DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that? But I think that the conclusion that we can reach is, no, it's not just us. This is bloody awful. And amazingly, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more episodes. We're committed to the rest of this mission, believe it or not, and we'd be ever so grateful if you hold the course as well. Bring more comments and have a good think about it, and post some more in the comments section underneath. I think we deserve a treat before we go. I think this is the ideal tonic.
Meteorite storm. Scotty, beam us up.
Scotty! Scotty!
Don't worry, Captain. It's only a shower. I don't need a brolly, you wally. Beam us up! Captain, I haven't got the power. Try, man, try. Power! More power! again.
Well, he certainly hasn't got the power. Good afternoon. But you could have national power and power gen. To register for a prospectus in the generating company's share offers, call 0272 272 272.
Yes, we can still laugh about it after all, can't we? After a couple of hours worth of conversation here on the latest episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Are your badges still where they're meant to be? Nobody swallowed theirs, have they? Wonder if that girl's going to get an arc. She gets stretched off or something every episode. It's a miracle. They would have sort of sent her home on a shuttle pod or something, wouldn't they?
I hate that fucking shit. I hate that fucking shit.
It's awful, isn't it?
Oh, God, I hate that fucking shit.
I hope the arc she gets is about 1,000,000 volts with a very high ampage.
No, like I said, I think that they just need to send her off, let her be the gardener, so you'll see her in background
Scholarship.
shots.
That's what I was looking for earlier. Scholarship. The Boothby scholarship. Let's have a callback from an hour and a half ago.
Let her do the pruning. Let her do the pruning and run the mow around every now and again.
No, not the pruning. No.
She'd probably chop her finger off.
It would amuse me if we saw the gardeners working on that in the kind of the Boothby area, and it turns out that they haven't got lawnmowers with wheels on. You know, that they've got some sort of floating lawnmower that's they've just left that poor girl with a wheelchair that she's got to work. You know. She's got to slum it while everybody else has got like robots that are floating everywhere. All this other shit's going on. And
it's okay. I'm empowered.
What would Roddenberry think of it all now? 60 years on. I think it's probably best we don't know. But we're holding on to his dream, I believe, Gary. We'll do the sterling work if they're not going to, won't we?
4 more hours.
I'm on holiday for 2 of them.
It's a super holiday.
How will you sleep at night, knowing that you're missing it?
Very, very well, but I am back for the finale. So,
you poor bastard. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in.
David will be back for the finale. So will they. The little scamps. He won't be. He's gone. Noel Gallagher. He's.
I'll be back for episode 7 though, if that's all right.
Are you back next week?
Yeah. And then it's just episodes 8 and 9. Apparently, episode 9 is directed by Jonathan Frakes, or he's involved himself in it. So,
awesome.
So, yeah, let's hope he can do a good job.
Maybe the next episode will have the War College Romulan girl. Now she's so ticked off that her bestie got killed that she just spends the next episode trying to, sneak in and attack all the cadets.
Things might get interesting, Gary. Careful. You can't expect too much. This has been Warp Drive, a Star Trek podcast, streamed live here in front of a live chat on YouTube and Rumble. Thanks, as always, to Chris, the mighty Bowlestrek. Feel sorry for that guy. Hours and hours of rewatches, of edits, of shouting. You know where to find him by now. Go and make sure you catch up on whatever's coming next from the House of Bowlestrek. Rabbi, you're live streaming tomorrow on YouTube and Rumble as well.
Indeed. It's my day after Valentine's Day special. All I'm saying is Sydney Sweeney makes a fantastic entrance on my thumbnail tomorrow. Fantastic. And it really wasn't hard to get her to film it, right? Just said, Sydney, darling, I need this. She said, no problem, Rabbi. Anything for you.
Wow.
I hear she's a very obliging girl.
Well, she is. The other night, she said, would you rather face of evil, right, or face of the enemy? So like, whoa, that's a choice. That's a choice.
Rabbi, make sure that Dan sends you the Millie Gibson pictures from Thursday's show.
Okay. Oh, did you see my Millie Gibson James Bond thumbnail?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That was fabulous. I was really impressed with that.
Great work. Yeah, of course, as well as Warp Drive, a Star Trek podcast, you can catch us, some of us, on Type 40 and Type 40 Live. Catch up on the latest edition if you're a Doctor Who fan. We don't do Doctor Who on this show, we do it on that show. And we had a big old geek out there on the week in the Whoniverse. Some great pictures and some more of the same old jokes. Really, so go and get some more of that before you head back here to Starbase for more Warp Drive next week episode 7. Gary, turning cartwheels, aren't we? It's like Christmas has come again so early, so quickly. After
you know what?
one.
It's so funny that you mentioned Christmas, Dan, because obviously Starfleet Academy airs on Thursdays. I've started thinking of Wednesdays as Academy Eve. That's what I call it.
Yes.
It's like a 2-day, little celebration of Starfleet Academy. Wednesday is Academy Eve. And
do you put a carrot out for Rudolph or anything like that, or pour a glass of sherry for Santa?
I generally stick a fork in my head.
I put a whole buffet out for all the eaters on the show.
David, you flaunted the fact that you're going to not be here to watch 2 of these episodes, but we're great. We're grateful. We're going to be grateful for your company next week, and even better that you're going to be back for the finale as well. But more to the point, more pressing, of course, is that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure after quite an antibiotic ridden week with quite a nasty tooth infection. So I've got my root canal booked in for 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks, and just before I go on holiday, which is nice. Root canal treatment is probably the most feared of dental treatment going because it is exceptionally painful. And yet I'm looking forward more to that treatment than watching Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, there you go.
That's where it is in my life. The pain of nerve pain, if anybody's ever had really bad nerve pain, toothache, that is preferable to some of the pain I've been going through watching the desecration of a beloved franchise.
It's awful. Hey, I gotta go.
But thank you for having me.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time too. That's been our look at episode 6 of Starfleet Academy. We're all back to school again next time. We'll see you out there somewhere. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah.